So this is
Whispers from a Virgo in La Sierra.
oh, whispers from a Virgo in La Sierra. Nice. So we're always when you're walking the path, you're uncovering, angles of yourself and the diamond parts of you that need polishing. And when they're polished, it's because you have an understanding and a self-acceptance of the pieces of your archetype. And so, of course, I was doing some research here on Virgo myself, my son, and it came up with Inanna, Ishtar, which belongs to Venus. It's 2 planets. It's the Earth Mother Goddess, and she's the goddess of service. And that's Inanna. And so Virgo was put on this earth as the perfect human being to manage human resources. And that is your own resources within, how you work your elements of fire, water, all of that, and how resourceful your ancestral gifts are, your family tree. Exactly. That you can share with the world, and you can continue to do those over and over again because they're a part of your resources. And of course, the other resources are the resources of the workforce, the land, to make sure that all the foods are gathered. So it's the gathering of resources and the counting of, sheep. All my sheep here, or did they run away? The farmer. Gathering resources created abundance for us for the future. And so Virgo became like the slave because it was of service to Mother Nature, nature of oneself, of perfection, and of ever-changing temperaments within ourselves called nature. How we feel is our nature. So it would be very easy for someone who was of service to Mother Nature and Mother herself that she could be taken advantage of because she would be worked beyond her own capacity. And so all of this goes back to, master slave, as Virgo would have been the perfect slave, right, out there in the farm fields. And so it brought in slavery and dependability, you see. And that was also monetized in the area of sexuality and for, lust and power for men and trophy wives. And the more children you had, the more fruitful your wife was, the more bigger your farm could be. And then, down the scale of humanity, we went into brides, we sold them as dowries and into harems, and that was Isis. The women were hidden behind the veil. So I was doing more of accepting oneself of the gifts, of Isis and the transformation of the divine goddess within. And because we're Virgos, our program is to give service. And it's also a masculine sign because it's due diligence, right? Is to make sure you've got all your dots and ticks and whatever. Everything's lined. So it's strategy. And we're good chess players. So the feminine side of Virgo, the healer, and Virgo is the surgeon, the holistic surgeon. Because of Pisces, we're able to see and view things into the future, predict, or actually see the difference between, a cancerous cell and a non-cancerous cell. So we have X-ray vision, if you want to call it. That's a part of our gift of healing. And to be able to perform miracles, and that's Jesus, right? It's working from the Christ consciousness and working the 2 opposites of me, the Virgo and Pisces, the seer and the seeker of truth, of love. And Pisces is the dreamer, the fantasia. And my Virgo is able to bring those ideas of, oh, I picked a bunch of fruit and fell on the ground and I picked that up too and I made some beautiful jam. And so really Virgo's part is to serve oneself, is to be the master of self, to show others that they too can do the same thing. And so here is my founding father, where I learned how to be a good slave girl. My father, the Capricorn, is the founding father, and that's the US too, Australia, all these newfound continents they called the Promised Land. And so it was very easy for me to serve the father here as a slave instead of serving the father in my truth. It would have been my spiritual side of me. So we became slaves to I guess, the father instead of the mother, which was to make things fruitful. And so here I was able to understand how I can, create miracles through speaking of truth, and not hurtful truth, the truth of my heart, of how I speak it. And my Gemini Sagittarius is my first house. And so these are my helpers here of speaking the truth, because Gemini loves to do all the research. And Sag here is my seeking of truth to present to the world. So the cross is what I make of Virgo, Gemini, Pisces, Sag cross. It's enslaved, because when we cross ourselves, we are cutting down the middle of ourselves. And the cross should really go this way, because it's two sides of the brain. And anyone who studies the brain and the mind for repatterning, a child with dyslexia, if he looks at an X and you ask him to speak his, say, poem, he'll be able to do it without hesitation and without any stutter or mistake. You ask him to focus on this and he'll never be able to do it. It'll block him. So we know that we don't cross in this way. This is for zipping up and zipping down our energy. So if you're around somebody who's negative, are you going to unlock after he leaves or she? And then you're going to say a prayer to zip up, and you have now contained your energy. So all of this is to Catholicism, the red cross, the poisoning of the blood. And the blue cross is this one here. It's the oxygenation. It is our matrix, which becomes our DNA. You cannot structure DNA like this. It's just a ladder. But here, you're building a braid, a spinal cord, and others can join perfect harmony. So it becomes diamonds in the sky everywhere. See? It's a lattice, and that's what they call the mycelium web. It's from our blood, and oxygenated blood turns blue. And so
it's a polygon, maybe like the panels of the bee.
Yeah, exactly. Because there is not one space that is not used. Everything in there is perfectly divinely.
So I think it creates a polygon like a diamond, but then the diamond can be subdivided, and then you create like shapes. But also, like the shape tries to become the circle. So every time you divide itself, so it creates two vertices, and then a little more, until it just becomes this bubble.
Yeah.
And that's how, the diamond becomes then the sun.
Exactly, it's like this.
Oh, I thought you were going to paint a heart.
Yeah.
But then you went.
But you'll see.
Inside. This is one heart
But you'll
open.
see. But you'll see. It's a fern. It's the beginning of life. That's the Trinity. That's how fern starts. And then from there, it sprouts this.
It's like we were telling earlier today. Like the birds were the gods.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're connected to the gods, and then when the feathers drop, it's what you're doing there.
Yeah. Oh, it should be this way. Anyway,
humans appear
I forget how to
from a feather of a bird.
Yeah, exactly. Angels.
They drop their seed, and maybe that cause the seeds to grow, and symbiosis, right?
Exactly. So
what's the name of that shape too?
That's a Triskelion.
Triskelion. What is a Triskelion?
It's an electromagnetism, and so this creates. So if you use copper wiring, it will create a frequency. They'll go for hundreds of miles, and what it does is it emits an electromagnetic wave. It's like two lovers coming together. It's pure peace and harmony. So if you've got waters that have been shattered, Let's say you take them from a plastic bottle from some supermarket. Some guy dropped the boxes, threw the boxes in the back, threw them to the other guy who slammed them into the refrigerator, and then, yeah, all that torture, trauma that the water is actually getting imprinted with. Not to mention if the person's annoyed while he's doing, or she. So when you get it and you put it on top of a Triskelion, it's a tool of ancient Egypt. Yeah, it would restructure the water. So that's how we restructure the water, and then we can reprogram it after that. So you can draw it on a piece of paper, but it has the bits, so it has to be exact. It's a cubit, and so you have to know how to work with cubits, which you'll learn. If you're an astrologer, astronomer, you gotta know the body and its digits.
So teachings from Esperanza. So I have a final question, Master Teacher. So in conclusion, what is the relation between Scallion and a Virgo? A Triskelion?
I'm a Trinity. I'm faith, hope, and love. And the fourth piece, the missing corner piece that we're all going into the Aquarian age for, is Sophia, wisdom. It's the path of gnosis. That's why you have to do a vision quest. The ancients told us that a long time ago in Australia, that every child must go walkabout after university, get the hell out and travel the world.
Purchaseyou.com